again, everyone. Along with Pete Van Weeren, Skip Carey welcoming you to another day of Atlanta Braves baseball from the stadium in Atlanta, where the Braves and Montreal Expos will conclude the series, and for that matter, will conclude the season's play between the two teams. Young Steve Avery will be on the mound for Atlanta. The Montreal team, Pete, everybody said they'd go nowhere this year because they had no pitching. But they've found pitching in peculiar places, including the youngster who's going for him today.
His name is Bill Sampson. He was pitching Double-A ball in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization last year. He's only starting his third game today. He's been primarily a relief pitcher, but he's been a real find. He's 7-1, his ERA in the ones, and he's the kind of a guy that Montreal went out and found to completely restructure this pitching staff, which right now ranks as the best pitching staff in the National League, has the lowest earned run average. So one of the reasons young Bill Sampson, up from Double-A ball of a year ago, a draftee of the Montreal Expos, who's done the job for him.
Back with the starting lineups, then the play-by-play story right after this.
The Atlanta Braves, America's team. Brought to you by Delta, the official airline of the Atlanta Braves. We love to fly, and it shows. By The Pump by Reebok. Pump it up. By Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered for real draft taste, so tap into the cold. And by Daihatsu, makers of the exciting Rocky Wide Track 4x4. Daihatsu, one of the most respected names in Japan for over 80 years.
Back here at the stadium, looks like we're going to have a good day weather-wise. Not quite as warm as it has been, and there is about a 20% chance of showers. Hopefully they'll stay away throughout the afternoon as the Braves and Expos meet for the final time this year. A look at our starting lineups for the Montreal Expos first. The Sears Die-Hard starting lineups for Montreal. Otis Nixon leads off and plays center. Marquise Grissom in right field hits second. Tim Raines in left bats third. The cleanup hitter is Tim Wallach at third base. In the number 5 spot, the catcher Mike Fitzgerald. Andres Galarraga at first base hits sixth. And the lower third of the order has Junior Noboa at second, Spike Owen at short, and right-hander Bill Sampson on the mound. He is 7-1, ERA 1.86. No record this year against Atlanta. The Expos begin the day third in the National League East. They're 4.5 games behind division-leading Pittsburgh. For the Atlanta Braves, Lonnie Smith will lead off and play left. Jeff Treadway hits second, plays second. Ron Gadd in center field will bat third. Jim Presley, the third baseman, in the cleanup spot again today. Dave Justice at first base will bat fifth. The right fielder hitting sixth is Dale Murphy. Hitting seventh and back at shortstop, Jeff Blauser. Jimmy Kramer's the catcher, batting in the number 8 spot. And on the mound, 20-year-old Steve Avery, a record of 1-3 in his first major league season. Earned run average of 4.23. He is 0-1 this year and lifetime against Montreal. The Braves begin the day in 5th place in the National League West. They are 18 games out of first. They are 3 games behind 4th place, San Diego. Our umpires for this afternoon, John McSherry will be calling the balls and strikes. Bob Davidson works at first. Ed Montague will be at second, and Charlie Williams will be over at third. It's been a very unusual season series between the Expos and the Braves. The Braves always have had trouble with the Montreal Expos, except for the first couple of years when Montreal was an expansion team. But this year, the Braves had no difficulty with the Expos at all in Montreal. They took 5 out of the 6 games played against the Expos up in Montreal. But back here at home, it's been the other way around. Montreal has won 4 of the 5 games played in the season series so far here in Atlanta. Quickly, a look at what else is going on in Major League Baseball today. A couple of games are underway. One in the National League. San Diego's jumped off to a 2-0 lead over Pittsburgh. Ed Whitson against Neil Heaton. Tony Gwynn a home run in that game for San Diego. The Mets play again at Cincinnati. Rubber game of their 5-game series. Interesting game for the Reds. Norm Charlton coming out of the bullpen to start that game in place of the injured Jose Rijo. The Dodgers are at Chicago, Philadelphia at Houston, San Francisco at St. Louis. Over in the American League, Kansas City and Boston are tied at 1 at the end of 2.5. Brett Saberhagen for Kansas City. Dana Kicker pitching for Boston. Chicago and New York, no score after 1. Eric King against Dave LaPointe. Minnesota's jumped on top of Baltimore in the first inning. Kirby Puckett hit a 3-run homer. Alan Anderson pitching against Bob Malacky. No score. Texas-Detroit after 1. Jeff Cote against Searcy. And later on, Milwaukee at Oakland, Cleveland at Seattle, and Toronto at California. Braves have taken the field. Defensively, they look like this. Lonnie Smith in left, Ron Gadd in center. Dale Murphy is the right fielder. Around the infield, Jim Presley at third, Jeff Blauser short, Jeff Treadway second, Dave Justice at first. The catcher is Jimmy Kramers. And on the mound, left-hander Steve Avery. A record of 1-3, an earned run average of 4.23. Really has only had one bad outing, and that was his very first one when he got knocked out in the third inning by the Cincinnati Reds. His numbers pretty good for a 20-year-old kid. Has not given up a home run yet, as you saw when the numbers were up. Avery will be facing the top of the Montreal order: Otis Nixon, Marquise Grissom, and Tim Raines. And as we get set to wrap up this 4-game series with the Expos, stepping in to tell you all about it, once again, Skip Carey.
Okay, Pete, thanks very much. Nixon hitting .224 with no homers, 6 RBIs. And you like to keep him off base. 28 out of 35 in the stolen base department. A crowd of between 10 and 15,000 gathering here on a very pleasant Sunday afternoon.
Before we get started here, we were talking about the condition of this field last night and how difficult the field conditions seem to be, and there is a reason for it, we found out today. First of all, the outfield grass has been cut and looks a little bit better today than it has in the series, but the infield grass, what they are trying to do, and this is a very difficult thing to do in the middle of a season, they are trying to change the composition of the grass mixture. They want to get a longer grass in that infield. Bobby Cox feeling that the infield grass has always been cut way too short here in Atlanta, so he's instructed the ground crew to try to change the composition of the grass, make it a longer, fluffier grass to slow down some of the ground balls hit. And because of that, they have seeded and they are letting it grow longer. And so you've got patches of some long grass, patches where the seed hasn't taken yet, and that's the reason it looks like it does.
First pitch to Nixon, strike called, underway.
Seems like an awkward time of year to try that, but that's the reason for it.
It's 81 degrees at game time. The pitch, low and away, a ball and a strike. Nixon 6 out of 22 against the Braves this year. He's driven in 1 run. Boy, he made a play here last night that was an eye popper, robbing Jim Presley of an RBI. Hits that ball hard into right field. Murphy on the move, 1 out. Nixon hit it hard, but out, 1 away. Marquise Grissom, the batter, at .260 with 10 RBI. The Phillies come to town tomorrow night for the first of a 3-game series. Marty Clary against Terry Mulholland. We'll have it for you at 7:35. Game time 7:40. Grissom out of Atlanta takes the strike on the corner, 0-1. In his last 4 starts, Avery in 24 2/3 innings has given up just 5 earned runs. He went, and the count's 0-2. He's 0-1 against Montreal, but pitched quite well against them in that loss. Oh, 0-2 the count to the right-hand hitter. Swung late, fouled it away, still 0-2.
Has 3 good pitches, a fastball, a curveball, and a changeup. The changeup really the key pitch for him. If it's working properly, it's a very good one, and he's a very effective pitcher. Without the changeup, not quite as effective.
Fouled the breaking ball off. It's still 0-2. Nothing wrong with his control here so far this afternoon. Tim Raines on deck, 1 out, nobody aboard, and the pitch. Strike 3 called, inside corner. Grissom caught looking, 2 down.
It's the one thing about Steve Avery that scouts have loved about him ever since he was in high school, his complete mastery of control of all 3 pitches. That fastball inside corner at the knees, perfect location, first strikeout of the game.
Raines hitting .284, 3 out of 18 is all he's managed against the Braves this year. 2 runs driven in. A little bit outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Two no. Tim Wallach on deck. Lined right at Presley. Almost took his head off, but Jim stayed with it and made the catch. 1, 2, 3 in the first, nothing doing. We go to the bottom half of the inning. Montreal nothing. Atlanta coming to bat.
No score as we go to the bottom half of the first inning. And Rube Walker, the scout for the St. Louis Cardinals, former Braves coach, really dressed up on this Sunday. Brought out his Easter bonnet. Here's the Montreal defense. Tim Raines at left. Otis Nixon center. Marquise Grissom right. The infield has Wallach, Owen, Noboa, and Galarraga. Mike Fitzgerald doing the catching. Bill Sampson, young right-hander on the mound. There are his numbers. He has had a good year.
Notice Rube doesn't wear a visor either, Pete.
Nope. You're not going to get me to wear one of those things he's wearing.
He's really into that hat. I'll say that for it. Lanny Smith leads it off. He's hitting .271, 5 homers, 19 RBI. People that don't know Rube Walker, he is one of the most delightful people you would ever meet in your life. Bill Sampson delivers. Breaking ball. Didn't get it. 0-1.
I don't know as though I've ever seen Rube Walker angry.
No, he's a very placid boy, but when he played, he was a tough cookie. The 0-1 pitch. Good live fastball, missed inside. Sampson, quite a story. Claimed by Montreal from the AA Harrisburg roster. He's ahead 1-2. He's out of Havana, Illinois. Went to McMurray College with a marketing and economics degree. Foul to the screen. Count stays 1-2.
I'd be a little surprised the Pirates didn't protect him after the year he had last year. He was 11-9 at Harrisburg, 3.21 earned run average, 165 innings. He only gave up 148 hits, only walked 40, struck out 134. But Pittsburgh just had no room on their roster for him, so he was left unprotected. Montreal grabbed him.
Slow curve, stays inside. It's Smith, Treadway, and Gant in the first for Atlanta. Low and away, and he's run it full, 3-2. A Little League team from Defuniak Springs, Florida, here at the ballpark, rooting for the Braves today. The Pittmans are here from Goldsboro, North Carolina. And the payoff pitch to Lonnie Smith is high, and he walked it. So there's a good start. Sampson got ahead in the count, let him slip away. And Jeff Treadway, the batter, hitting at .296, 9 homers, 40 runs driven in.
Sampson starting today in place of Kevin Gross, who is still on the disabled list, broke a finger trying to lay down a bunt. He'll come off the list later this week, and Sampson will go back to the bullpen.
Lonnie, 6 of 11 in the stolen base department. Treadway's had a good year against Montreal, hitting .318 against them. He's driven in 6 runs. He's hit 1 homer. And he takes a strike. It's 0-1. Travis McCann of Kinston, North Carolina, celebrating a birthday here at the ballpark. The Mullins family from Hillsville, Virginia, here as well. 0-1 the count. Throw to first, runner back in the who's hot and who's not department in Major League Baseball. The Rangers have won 7 straight, but they're still 11.5 out. Pirates have won 4 in a row, 8 of 10. The Giants 8 out of 10, but they're still 7.5 back. The other end of the scale, the Cubs have lost 6 straight. The 0-1 didn't get it, 0-2. Ron Gant waits on deck. Nice bubble, Jeff. Sampson again ready. And the 0-2 pitch out, nothing happening. It's a ball, 2 strikes. Sampon's only loss was in relief in Wrigley Field to the Cubs. Jimmy Williams runs through the signs at third. Pat Corrales coaches at first. The 1-2 pitch. Curve hit to Galarraga. Steps on the bag. Tag play at second. He is safe. Bad throw, Galarraga. He made the right decision, I think. A good throw has him easily.
He was so close to the bag, he thought he could just step and throw, and he would have had him easily if he had made a good throw, but the throw sailed over to the third base side of second. Spike Owen couldn't get back there before Lonnie Smith arrived.
Ron Gadd hitting .306 for the year with 17 homers, 40 RBIs. He has struggled against Montreal. Just 8 out of 39, a .205 batting average, with a homer and 3 RBIs. He's tied for 7th in the league in homers, 6th in the league in slugging percentage. Runner in scoring position. Didn't get the breaking ball or fouled it back. 0-1. We're scoreless in the bottom of the first.
Bobby Cox really hopeful the offense will perk up a little bit today. They only scored 1 run on Sunday against the Mets. Then came the All-Star break. Then the shutout by Mark Gardner on Thursday night. Braves scored only 5 runs in the doubleheader last night.
The 0-1 pitch. Pop foul back to the screen. So again, Sampson gets ahead in the count. Sampson 6'1", 185-pounder. He's had some very impressive minor league records. 9-8 in '87, 9-6 in '88, 11-9 as Pete said last year. And now doing better than all of that in the big leagues. The 0-2. Little swinging bunt on the third baseline. Sampson has no play. Infield hit. And the Braves with a chance to break on top early here as Jim Presley comes to the plate. You see the numbers on Presley. Newsoms are here from Ahoskie, North Carolina. Felton Smith looking in Boaz, Alabama. Presley 11 out of 35, 6 RBIs, 2 homers against Montreal. Breaking ball stayed upstairs. 1 ball, no strikes. A walk and a swinging bunt and a bungled double play by Montreal has the Braves in pretty good shape here. Infield back, hopeful of turning a double play. If Presley has a weakness, it's his lack of running speed.
All he wants to do is get the ball up in the air here to the outfield, get that run in.
And he gets it up in the air and into the left field corner. 1 run will score. Raines plays the carom perfectly, and it's a double for Presley. Braves now with a chance for a big inning.
It's the old hanging breaking ball, almost backed up a little bit on Sampson. Presley deposits it down into the left field corner. Might have gone for more than 2 had not Raines been as alert as he was. He played that carom as well as you can play it. 22 doubles now in the year for Jim Presley.
Infield back, willing to concede yet another run for an out here. Justice, then Murphy for Atlanta. Ground ball will get a run home. It's 2-0. Justice drives in his 21st. 2 out in the inning. Gant crosses the plate. Presley to third. And Dale Murphy the batter. Blauser moves to the on-deck circle. 2 out, a runner at third, 2 runs home. Up and in. 1 ball, no strikes. Curve snapped in there. It's 1-1, but even that one seemed to hang a little bit.
His curveball not at all sharp in this first inning.
He threw a good one to Gant that he fouled back, but other than that, his curve has not been his friend. The 1-1. He hung another one. 2 balls and a strike. It looks like he's going to keep throwing it till he gets it right. Sampson looks in. There's a pretty good curveball, and the count evens 2-2. High pop fly, left center field. Nixon is there, and the inning is over, but a very profitable one for Atlanta. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left. We've played an inning, and the Braves lead 2-0.
It's 2-0 Atlanta. We're going to the top of the second. In your picture now, Mr. and Mrs. Ken Avery, the proud parents of 20-year-old Steve Avery. And don't think that the parents of these young phenoms in professional sports don't go through a little something too when it comes time to making a decision coming out of high school, whether to go to college or play professionally. Ken Avery, a former professional pitcher, pitched in the Braves organization, former minor league teammate of Pat Jarvis.
Wallach doesn't get a low fastball. It's 0-1. I would imagine watching your kid pitch or play in a major league game is the little league experience only about 20 times worse, if that's possible. You root so hard for your own. The 0-1.
Ken Avery, by the way, now a school superintendent up in Michigan.
Good breaking ball. 0-2.
They've raised a fine young man. This kid's a very impressive kid, not only on the field but off the field. You'd never know he was 20 years old going around the big leagues for the first time.
The 0-2. Fastball up high. A ball and 2 strikes. Ground ball, just as good play. Avery gets to the bag. 1 out. Fine play by Justice. He covered a lot of ground on that ball.
And a good play by Avery, too. I think Avery thought that ball was going through, got a little bit of a late break over toward first base. When he realized there was going to be a play, he really took off. And see him race over to the bag. Justice hits the moving target. And a good tag of the bag by Avery. He didn't really have time to look for it, just had to kind of feel for it. So Justice makes a good play, good throw to lead the pitcher to the bag. And they get Wallach by a step.
Mike Fitzgerald, the batter, he was the hero last night, driving in 3 runs, a 2-run homer included in the Montreal victory in the long doubleheader. 1 ball, no strikes. Pete Van Wieren, Skip Carey with you from the ballpark in Atlanta. High pop foul, out of play. The Donnellys are here from Chillouee, Virginia, rooting for the Braves. They can't wait for the Goodwill games and then the resumption of Braves baseball. A ball and a strike to count. Excuse me, a ball and 2 strikes. Avery delivers. That's all you get. 2 down. Second strikeout for Avery.
Pulled the string on this one. When he gets this off-speed pitch working, he can be at times almost unhittable.
Here's Galarraga. A little bit inside. 1 ball, no strikes. The 1-0. Low and away with a fastball. Galarraga, 10 out of 34 against Atlanta. Hitting .257 against the league. With a bunch of strikeouts. 3-0 is the count. This guy's a good cripple hitter. With 2 out in the inning, Buck Rogers might just roll the dice and cut him loose. Nope, he's taking it. It's 3-1. Fastball through the heart of the plate. A 2-out walk to Galarraga. And Junior Noboa will be the batter. Noboa hitting .250 against the league, but .333 against the Braves, 6 out of 18. Marty Clary against Terry Mulholland here tomorrow night. Tom Glavine against Bruce Ruffin on Tuesday. Those games will be on TV for you. Wednesday we can't televise. John Smoltz against Jose De Jesus. And then we will televise Thursday from New York. Charlie Liebrandt will pitch that game. Noboa takes it low. 1 ball, no strikes. 2-2-0 for the Braves. All zeros for the Expos. Throw to first, runner back.
If you watched last night, you know that Charlie Liebrandt had a little difficult time of it with plate umpire Charlie Williams. Bobby Cox also getting involved. Bobby wound up getting tossed from the game. Tell you what was really annoying them the most.
2-0 is the count.
You're always going to have disagreements with an umpire from time to time over balls and strikes. But Bobby said he kept asking Charlie Williams, where was the pitch? Was it high? Was it low? Was it outside? And the only answer he kept getting was, it was a ball. And that is what really infuriates managers.
2 balls, no strikes. It's 3-0. I don't know who. Avery all over the place all of a sudden. I don't know who is in charge of umpires anymore in the National League. Is it Ed Vargo or?
He's the supervisor, right?
3-1. You read the most recent Sports Illustrated, the story about how bad pitching has gotten this year. And Whitey Herzog and Don Zimmer both quoted as saying, whoop, that Justice simply dropped that ball. That should be an error on him, and Galarraga to second.
Yeah, there was no reason for Justice not to handle this. He just misplayed it. It'll be the error on Justice.
They were talking about how it's almost impossible to throw a strike. Herzog was quoted as saying the strike zone is from the top of the belt buckle to the bottom of the belt buckle. The pitch. Swinging away, ground ball to third. Should be out of the inning. Presley to first. Inning over. So the walk and the air do no harm. We'll talk about that more when we come back. No hits, no runs, 1 air, 1 left. We go to the bottom half of the second inning. Atlanta leads 2-0. Jeff Blauser will lead off the Atlanta second. Everybody in the National League says that the umpire strike zone is from the belt to the knees, even though that's not what's in the rules, and I don't understand that. Curve strike to Blauser.
Got the rule book right here. The strike zone is supposed to be the midpoint between the top of the shoulders and the top of the uniform pants, and the lower level a line at the top of the knees. That is supposed to be the strike zone, and of course the width of the plate.
Well, why isn't that the strike zone? Ground ball up the middle, headed for center field. Great play, Noboa. He'll never throw him out. Third Atlanta hit. And I'm not knocking the umpires, but obviously it's gotten this way. Why doesn't somebody take control of the situation and fix it?
Another look at Blauser's base hit. Almost hit the foot and then the glove of Bill Sampson on the way up the middle. I think what upsets people the most on the field, the manager and the coaches and the players, not so much what a strike zone is going to be on a given day, but is it a consistent strike zone all day long? In the first game of last night's doubleheader, for example, Ed Montague worked the plate, and he was a pitcher's umpire throughout the night. Very liberal strike zone, maybe a little wider than some umpires.
Hit and run. There's the throw. He's in there easily. Got a tremendous jump. Noboa tried to deke Blauser that the ball had gotten away, but he would have none of it. Blauser's first stolen base of the year in 3 attempts.
I think you're going to see the Braves doing a little bit of running on Sampson and Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald has not been throwing that well this year. Sampson takes a little time getting rid of the ball, and the jump that Blauser got was the key there.
But every game virtually of every team is televised by one team or the other. 0-2 is the count to Jimmy Kramer's, and virtually every shot is either from behind home plate or more likely from the center field camera, so you have a good look. Shouldn't somebody be helping the umpires, telling them your strike zone is too small, if in fact that is the case?
You would think there would be some sort of supervisory person who would be watching that kind of thing. Perhaps they do and just don't publicize it.
Kramer is out on strikes. Well, talking to baseball people, if they do, the umpires aren't listening because the strike zone is at least the belt to the knee.
But in that first game last night with Montague, even though he was a pitcher's umpire, the strike zone remained the same all the way through the game for both sides. It was the hitters primarily who were objecting to the calls. You saw no pitchers get upset. What really infuriates managers and pitchers and hitters is inconsistency in the strike zone.
Especially the guys who will give you a pitch for 7 innings, but then you get down to the crucial point of the game and all of a sudden the plate gets smaller, and that's not right either.
And in last night's game, for example, Bobby felt that Charlie Liebrandt threw some outside corner pitches, should have been called strikes, were not. And then one of his own hitters, Dave Justice, got up there. A pitch that looked to him to be quite a bit outside was called a strike.
Runner at second, 1 away. Avery 0 for 9 since coming to the Braves. Chopped down at a high pitch, but he didn't get it, and it's 0-2. It's easy to sit around bashing umpires or referees. That's not our.
No, it's not the point at all. The point is just to point out what a lot of baseball people are saying and are talking about these days, which is the strike zone. Where is it?
And if an umpire has it too small or too low, somebody ought to tell him. All of us in every line of work accept constructive criticism.
And at times destructive criticism.
Yeah. Well, that's in our business, of course. 1-2 is the count. Blauser at second, 1 out. Good breaking ball. Avery is retired. Second strikeout for Sampson, and they have been in succession. And here's Lonnie Smith, who walked and scored in the first.
Let's talk on the other side of it too. If you go around any locker room in the National League and ask the individual players who the best ball and strike umpires are in the league, the most consistent, almost always one of 3 names will pop up, and the man behind the plate today, John McSherry, is one of them. You hear very little criticism from anybody in the league about his ball and strike calling.
Good cut at a fastball, didn't get it. 0-1. Meanwhile, New York Met first baseman Mike Marshall will be released from a Cincinnati hospital later today, but will not go to Houston with the Mets. He was admitted, diagnosed as having an upper gastrointestinal infection. He'll probably be placed on the disabled list. Boy, his career has been full of the DL. Up and in with the fastball. Lonnie waits patiently. Blauser pretty good lead at second base. That's in there, and he is in the hole. 1-2. Time call. Fitzgerald and Sampson have a little trouble getting together. So Mike goes to the mound to talk it over with the young pitcher. 2-0 Atlanta, our score. The Phillies in town, then the Braves go away to New York, come home to play 4 against Houston in 3 nights, and then head west for a week and a half. Curve hit hard. Good play, Wallach. Long throw. He got him. Brilliant play, and the inning is over. Oh, that guy is some third baseman. He ranged behind the bag and took a base hit away from Lonnie Smith. 1 hit, no runs, no errors, 1 left. We've played 2, Atlanta 2, Montreal nothing. Time for a look at the B.F. Goodrich standings. First in the West, the Reds still by 7.5 over a very hot San Francisco team. Braves hope to get close to 3rd place. Pirates playing well. Cubs aren't. And the rest are in the middle, and those are your B.F. Goodrich standing. We go to the 3rd inning here, and with the play-by-play story, here's Pete.
Okay, thank you, Skip. Spike Owen taking a strike. He's hitting .242, 5 homers, 25 runs driven in. Got off to a very hot start. Has really cooled off. His last 135 at bats, hitting just .207. Avery's 1 strike pitch. The breaking ball fouled off. It's 0-2. Avery started the year at Richmond, had a record there of 5-5, earned an average of 3.50. That just missed. 1-2. There's the good changeup. Little tap out to short. Takes a funny hop, and Blauser can't get him because of that funny hop. The ball took a little bit of a bad hop off to his left. He juggled it a bit in his glove, having to reach for it, and by the time he was able to get it out and throw on to first, Owen was able to beat it out.
There it is right there. That hop was on a zigzag. So the new longer turf results in an infield hit for Montreal.
Their first hit of the game, and it'll bring up the pitcher Bill Sampin in a bunt situation. Sampin 0 for 5 on the year. Bunts it foul, 0-1.
But anyway, just to close out on that other subject without beating it to death, just bring the strike zone back to what the rule book says, and then if you want to juice the baseball up, do so. It'll make the hitters more aggressive. It'll make the game a faster paced game. And we're not saying give an unfair advantage, just enforce the rules.
Chased back is Owen. 5 out of 8 in the stolen base department for Spike Owen. Just about everybody on this team does some running. Montreal leads the majors in stolen bases. Back to the mound. Avery thinking about second. He'll have to settle for the out at first. Treadway takes the throw. The 1-4 sacrifice. Retires Sampin. 1 down.
He got sort of a funny hop on that one, too. There's a little bare spot right in front of the mound where that ball hit. Here it is again. This hop coming up. It didn't come up on him at all, and that bobbling cost him his play at second. He might have had a double play if he fields that cleanly.
So Owen down at second with 1 out. Otis Nixon will be the batter. He flied to right his first time. And you've got to guard against a bunt anytime he's at the plate. Low and inside, ball 1. In case you joined us late, we were talking early in the game about the Braves' decision to get a different composition of grasses in the infield. They want a higher, softer, fluffier infield than the stadium has had. Up the middle, going to get through. Base hit center field. Spike Owen around third. He will score. And Otis Nixon, with just his 7th RBI of the year, has gotten Montreal on the board. It's now 2-1.
And Jimmy Kramer's might as well start getting limbered up, because you figure this guy will be going. He's 28 out of 35. Here's the pitch he hit. Fastball up. Letter high.
So 2 hits in the inning resulted in a Montreal run. Now Nixon at first, and Marquise Grissom, the hitter. He struck out in the first. Looking. Into shallow center field. Long run for Ron Gant. He'll have to play it on the hop. That drops for a base hit. And the Expos have put together 3 singles here in the top of the 3rd. The batter will be Tim Raines, who lined out to third his first time. We were talking the other night about how batting averages can be a little deceptive. Raines, although his batting average is up where it normally is. Leo Mazzoni is going to try to settle down Avery here. He's hitting .283, but it's been kind of a soft .283. He hasn't got many extra base hits, only 8, 3 doubles, 3 triples, 2 homers, 25 RBIs, not many, for hitting out of the number 3 spot most of the year. The whole infield gathers round the conference. They'll talk about several things here. What to do if Raines drops a bunt. And how to pitch him, and probably the next man, Tim Wallach, as well. Braves leading at 2-1, but Montreal threatening to get right back in it here with a runner in scoring position, another runner at first. Pitch on the way is taken low and inside, ball 1. Tom Runnels, the third base coach for Montreal. Tommy Harper does the duty over at first. Raines from this side of the plate, a little more of a double play candidate. Hitting from the left side, almost impossible to double up. Now the pitch on the way to him, and it's taken low and inside. Count goes to 2-0 now on Raines. And Avery has missed with the first 3 now to Tim Raines, falling behind 3-0. Here's the 3-0 pitch, and on 4 straight he walks Tim Raines, and that loads the bases for Tim Wallach, the top RBI man on the Expos. That's the second walk given up by Avery. Raines at first, Grissom at second, Nixon over at third, and Tim Wallach the batter. Wallach grounded out to the first baseman Dave Justice, his first time up.
Has 57 RBIs, 11 of them against Atlanta.
The bullpen is going to start into action. Rick Lucan, the right-hander, begins to throw. And Avery's pitch on the way to Wallach, and that missed just inside. Looks like Avery right now is trying to be a little too fine with his pitches. Here's the 1-0 to him. That bounces up there. Good stop by Kramers. That's 6 straight now that have missed the strike zone from Steve Avery.
And now you really got to be careful. If you let up to throw a strike, you've got a dangerous hombre up there. A ground ball would get him out of this.
This guy's a good low ball hitter. That'll be out of play. That's where you want to pitch Wallach. You want to keep your pitches up a little bit on him. He has that uppercut swing. And you make a mistake down low, he can drill it out of the ballpark. Most times when you're trying to get a ground ball for perhaps a double play, you try to keep the ball down. But Wallach, a guy who can go down there and you get a ball down around the knees or below and hit it high in the air and drive it with some distance. Trying to keep that ball down, missed low again. 3-1. One more bad one, we've got a tie game. And the 3-1 delivery hit high and deep to center field. Going back, Ron Gant. It is out of here. Tim Wallach connects for a grand slam home run, and with one swing of the bat, Wallach has turned this game around. Montreal now leads it 5-2. His 15th home run. He now has 61 RBIs on the year.
And a fourth of those RBIs roughly against Atlanta. 3-1. You could almost feel it coming because he's a tough hitter. Fastball just below the belt.
That's the first Grand Slam home run hit by an Expo player this year. It's Wallach's 5th career Grand Slam. Now Mike Fitzgerald taking a strike, 0-1. 5-2 Montreal after the grand salami by Tim Wallach. 0-2 the count. Now the 2-strike pitch on the way. Bounces up there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wallach now with 61 RBIs. Puts him 6th in the league. Matt Williams of the Giants, the league leader, with 71. 2-2 now on Mike Fitzgerald. Avery really struggling here in the 3rd after breezing through the first 2 innings. Two pitch on the way, just missed outside. Full count now, 3-2.
Well, Avery's first major league home run he gives up is one he'll long remember. When you give up those 4 spots, they stick in your mind.
Now the payoff pitch hit foul over toward the Expo dugout. It remains 3-2. Again, the payoff got him. Outside corner, caught Fitzgerald looking. 3rd strikeout of the game for Steve Avery. Out number 2 in the inning, and now the 8th man to bat in the 3rd inning. First baseman Andres Galarraga will step in. Galarraga drew a walk back in the 2nd. This inning began with that little bad hop single by Spike Owen. Sampson bunted him down to 2nd, then a run scoring hit by Otis Nixon. Single by Marquise Grissom. Walk to Tim Raines to load the bases. And then the grand slam by Wallach. Two and nothing the count now in Galarraga. That'll be out of play. 2-1. Avery's 2-1 pitch. Little chopper toward 3rd. Presley will have a long throw. Gets it there in time to retire Galarraga, and that's it for the Expos. But a big inning for Montreal. They score 5 times. 4 of those runs coming on 1 swing of that man's bat. We go to the bottom half of the 3rd. 5-2 Expos. Well, there's that Little League group from Defuniak Springs, Florida that Skip mentioned earlier. That's something you see quite a few Little League and Youth League teams from around the Southeast do. Reward their All-Stars with a trip to Atlanta to a Major League game during the course of the season. And we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Montreal up 5-2. Jeff Treadway, who grounded out to 1st, leads off against Bill Sampson. Starts him off with a changeup. Misses low and inside, ball 1. Treadway, Gant, and Presley are the scheduled hitters. Into left field, Raines had him played perfectly. 1 gone, bottom of the 3rd. Now Ron Gant. Gant with a base hit in the 1st inning, his first hit in this series. Strike with the fastball outside corner. 0-1. Start of a long road trip for Montreal. They go to Cincinnati from here and then Houston. And Buck Rogers calling this a key part of the season for the Expos if they're to stay in the race. They've got to go out and have a good road trip. So far they have, winning 2 out of the first 3 in this series. It's the time of year when if you go out and have one bad long road trip, say a 10-game trip, there's a drive to right by Gant. It'll drop for a base hit. Again, you saw Gant go the other way after getting 2 strikes on him. That's something he's been doing extremely well all year. That's the 4th hit off Bill Sappin. That'll bring up Presley. But if you go out and have a 10-game road trip and you're in the hunt, you go out and go 2-8 on a trip like that, that can do it. That can knock you right out of it. Get you about 6 games out instead of 2 games out. You never can recover from that. Montreal's been a good road team. They're 2 games over 500 away from Olympic Stadium. Presley doubled in a run in the first inning. 0-1 the count.
You know, another thing concerns you about the Braves, they have tried, and of course nobody could predict the Osaski situation, but they've tried to tailor their ball club to this ballpark, which means some power, and they've hit with power. But still, they're 18-25 at home going into today and losing today. Well, if you can't win at home.
Here's the 1-strike pitch. There's a drive to right center field. That's going in the gap between Nixon and Grissom. Grissom over quickly to cut it off. He'll hold Presley to a single. Gant winds up at third. And the Braves threatening with runners first and third. 1 down for Dave Justice.
This is a patented shot for Presley. Hits a lot of balls into that alley. They have such tremendous speed in their outfield. We had visions, or at least I did, of a double and a run in, but Grissom cut it off easily.
So they're at the corners, 1 down. And here's Justice. Drove in his 21st run of the year when he grounded out to second in the first inning. Hit a home run off Bill Sappin earlier this year. Infield's going to play in at the corners, double play depth. Second and short. I think it's easier to tailor your ball club for a pitcher's park. Being down to the Braves bullpen again. And he will resume throwing as we get down toward the pitcher's spot on the batting order. Now Blauser steps back in. A count of 3 balls, no strikes. And he walked him on 4 straight. So they're loaded now for Jim Kramers. That's walk number 2 given up by Sappin. Blauser now at first. Justice moving to second. Presley over to third. Here's Kramers, who struck out his first time. 17 strikeouts now and 38 at bats for Kramers. And that's what he's been seeing a lot of, off-speed pitches. That changeup missed, ball 1. A lot of changeups, a lot of curveballs. Tommy Gregg coming to the on-deck circle. If Kramers can keep it going, Gregg will pinch hit for Avery. And now Sappin has lost the strike zone. He's missed with 6 straight. 2-0. Didn't get the high fastball. 2-1 the count on Jim Kramers.
That might have been ball 3. That was up around the letters.
Braves down by 2, 5-3. We're in the bottom half of the third. Here's the 2-1 delivery. Hit up the middle toward short. Nice play. Owen flips to his second baseman, Noboa, in time for the force on Blauser, and that does it for Atlanta in the third. Braves get 1 of the runs back, but they leave 3, and at the end of 3, it's now Montreal 5, Atlanta 3.
This telecast, authorized under rights granted by the Atlanta National League Baseball Club, intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves is prohibited.
We go to the 4th inning on a warm, sunny afternoon here at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. It is 5-3, Expos leading it. And the lower third of the order due up here, beginning with Junior Noboa, the second baseman, who grounded out to third his first time. Phillies here tomorrow night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. We will televise Monday and Tuesday. Then the Braves hit the road for a short trip to New York, 4 games, and right back home again. There's a called strike, 1-1.
There is no such thing as a short trip to New York.
Well, that is true. Here's the 1-1. Line drive, shallow toward third. Grabbed by Presley. Hit that one right off the handle, Noboa did. And one man is gone in the top of the 4th. Now Spike Owen. Owen had an infield single his first time up. That got that 5-run 3rd inning started. It was a little dribbler toward short, took a bad hop at the last moment, and Blauser couldn't throw him out. Ball 1 the count, and Spike Owen. Now it's 2-0. Owen started out in the Seattle organization, played a couple of years for the Mariners. Tim Burke coming in from the Expo bullpen, so we've seen the end of Bill Sampin for the day. Here's the 3-0, and he walked him on 4 straight. That's the 3rd walk given up by Avery. Now we're going to get a pinch hitter, Delino DeShields, batting for Bill Sampin. DeShields, a Rookie of the Year candidate, hitting .303, 2 homers, 14 RBIs. This might be a move by Buck Rogers where DeShields pinch hits and stays in the game. We'll see. The Expos have had Avery on the verge of being out of this game a couple of times. Ball 1 the count on DeShields. Hasn't been used that often as a pinch hitter. Only one other time, 0 for 1. One man out. Spike Owen, the runner at first. Avery chases him back. For some reason, Dave Justice has had some trouble holding on to those pickoff attempts from Avery. One got away from him back in the 2nd inning, allowing Galarraga to go to second. 1 ball, 1 strike now on Delino DeShields. And that caught the inside corner to make it 1-2. DeShields hasn't seen much left-handed pitching this year. Buck Rogers has been pretty protective of his rookie, playing him mostly against right-handers. That just missed. 2-2. Avery's 2-2 with the runner going. Strike 3 called. The throw down by Kramer's got him. Double play to end the inning. 2-6 double play as Avery records his 4th strikeout. And that's all for the Expos in the 4th. Good throw by Kramers. We go to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Still 5-3 Montreal. It is 5-3 Montreal leading it. We're going to the bottom half of the 4th inning. The Expos have a new pitcher, right-hander Tim Burke, making his 24th appearance. You see the numbers on him for the year. He was the staff leader in saves until he went on the disabled list. Since he's been passed by teammate Dave Schmidt, who has 12 saves. Burke went on the DL with a broken bone in his leg. A little bone chip suffered when He was kicked on a play at first base. He was covering, taking a throw from his first baseman. Jeff Treadway hit a ground ball to first. That's how Burke got hurt. Here's Avery staying in the game. He struck out his first time. Strike in the outside corner, 1-1. Burke was a nominee for this year's Roberto Clemente Award, which is given every year to a baseball player who contributes to humanitarian causes. Hit out toward short by Avery, right at Owen. Avery retired, one down. The winner of that award, it's given every year at the All-Star break. Dave Stewart of the Oakland A's won it for the work he did during the earthquake last year. But Tim Burke does a lot of things. He is the chapel leader for the Expos. But one of the reasons why he's been nominated the last 3 years and probably will win the award one of these years, the Roberto Clemente Award, is the fact that he and his wife, Christine, have adopted children from international areas. They have a daughter that was born in Korea, and they have a son that was born in Guatemala. Lonnie Smith lines one. And a nice catch made by a fan who had a front row ticket. He brought his glove and his Braves shirt and everything.
See who he gave it to down there. He turned around and gave it to somebody after making a really an outstanding play. Well, we don't know.
Missed a little high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He gave it to one of the youngsters sitting behind him. That's terrific.
Lonnie Smith walked in the first, grounded out to third in the second. Here's the 1-1. The breaking ball hit foul off to the left, 1-2. Burke has really had some excellent years for Montreal. Last year, one of them when he won 9, saved 28. 2-2 the count. His best year, though, 1987. Pitched in 55 games, had a record of 7-0, 18 saves, and a 1.19 earned run average. That's about as good as you get out of the bullpen. It's full now, 3-2 on Lonnie Smith. Ground ball deep short. Owen, nice backhanded pickup. On to first in time. Good left side of the infield defensively for the Expos with Wallach and Owen. They don't let too many of them get through. 2 down. And Jeff Treadway will be the hitter. He is grounded out to first, and he is flied to left. Sappin did not work long enough to be eligible for a win, just the 3 innings. Giving up 3 runs, 6 hits. So Burke with a chance here, if he pitches well, to pick up a victory. Treadway lines that one past Galarraga. Base hit right field. And there's the 7th hit of the game for Atlanta. Been a frustrating couple of games for Atlanta. The second game of that doubleheader last night saw the Braves strand 10. And in the first 3 innings of this one, the Braves have already stranded 5. And they have another runner aboard with 2 outs here in the 4th. Ron Gant 2 for 2, a pair of singles. He has scored 2 runs. Strike in the outside corner from Burke. Treadway not really a threat to steal. Has only 1 stolen base all year. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Ron Gant. Burke pretty much a 2-pitch pitcher. Fastballs and sliders, but all you see from him. Here's the 1-1. That slider missed outside. 2-1.
Al Galima, Pete, comes up with a stat. In the last 9 innings, we have stranded 9 men in scoring position.
Bobby Cox frustrated after the game last night because so many of the late rallies in that game, in game 2, started after 2 were out. 3-1 the count now, and Ron Gant. The on-deck hitter, Jim Presley, was also 2 for 2. Here's the 3-1 delivery. That's going to get through. Base hit left field. Treadway will stop at second. And again, the Braves have started something in this inning after 2 men were out. Back-to-back singles by Treadway and Gant. Putting runners at first and second. Gant's now 3 out of 3. Braves now have 8 hits in this ball game. And here's Jim Presley, who's 2 for 2 with a single, a double, and RBI. Presley's average now up to 275 for the year. Only had 41 RBIs all of last year in 117 games. The RBI he got in the first inning of this game is 44th of the year. First and second, 2 down. Strike with a fastball outside corner, 0-1. Off the screen, 0-2. The count now on Jim Presley. Gant the runner at first, Treadway at second. Braves with 8 hits in the game. 7 of them, though, have been singles. The only extra base hit, the Presley double back in the first. Now the 0-2 on the way. Throw back to first by Fitzgerald. Threw it away into right field. Treadway will be waved around third. Here's the throw by Marquise Grissom. Treadway in there safely. Gant moves to third.
Let's see if that was a strike 3. Yes, all that doesn't count.
And credit Tim Wallach with picking that up. I don't know if Fitzgerald was aware of it or not. Now Bobby Cox is going to come out and argue. And I think he's been ejected from the game because I don't think a manager is allowed to come out and argue on a 3rd strike. So for the 2nd straight day, Bobby Cox, I believe, is going to take an early shower. But I don't think Mike Fitzgerald ever realized that that might have been strike 3. After the run had crossed the plate, after Treadway had scored, Tim Wallach is the guy that came running in. Here's the play again, Skip.
Fitzgerald already had a set play on and made the bad throw. That's why he went ahead and threw. And you're right, it was Tim Wallach who made the call as the play came to the plate. You may see Wallach come running into your picture, yelling at John McSherry to look down to first base. So all that is for naught. It's a strikeout to end the inning. McSherry waved off the run.
5-3 Montreal after 4. It's still been going on between Bob Davidson and Bobby Cox. I'm not sure Bobby Cox is aware that he had gotten tossed out of this game. Bob Davidson going over to him now to tell him to go.
And you see him say, no, he didn't swing. And now things get somewhat heated.
But the rule is on a 3rd strike, a manager is not allowed to come out of the dugout and argue. And the ejection came very quickly after Cox came out of the dugout. So a weird end to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Now we're in the top of the 5th. And Otis Nixon leading it off. He's 1 for 2 and a run scoring single. His last time up, 1 ball, 1 strike. All you do on that play is simply score it as a strikeout.
Once he struck out enough, everything else was just exercise.
Just erased all the other. That's right. But really alert play by third baseman Tim Wallach, because I don't think Fitzgerald was even aware of the possibility. Right back to Avery. Should get Nixon. Does. One down in the fifth.
Now, if that ball had gone in the dirt and he would have short hopped the ball and then thrown to first base, would the run have scored? Because you would have to throw to, yeah, it would have, because you have to throw to first base to get the out, right?
That's right. And I'll tell you something else I think Tim Wallach did there. He yelled something to Fitzgerald, and Fitzgerald then threw the ball to first base, because when he threw the ball away, he might have thought, well, maybe that doesn't count as holding on to the ball.
But that was unnecessary, and that's why John McSherry was waving off the run at home plate.
Everybody was a little bit mixed up on that, but Tim Wallach, the guy that really was aware of what was happening and the one that prevented Atlanta from picking up another run. 1-2 now on Marquise Grissom. Grissom with a strikeout and a base hit. Well, for Bobby Cox, this is only his 19th game as manager of the Braves since taking over. It's the third time he's been tossed. 2 games in a row, and there's the guy that prevented that Atlanta run from coming in, Tim Wallach. Up the middle, second baseman Treadway. Nice play to his right. Throws on to first. Good play, Treadway. He has gotten better this year at making that play. And 2 men are out here in the fifth.
Good play. In fairness to Cox on the ejection, he wasn't. Well, he was arguing about whether it was a third strike, but he was arguing about a run being taken away and another run being at third base. They have to throw him out. I'm not faulting the umpire, but I hope the league takes that into consideration.
Yeah, the reason they have that rule in there is that because it's to keep the game moving. They don't want a manager running out to home plate every time he disagrees with a ball or strike call. So they put that rule in the book that if a manager comes onto the field to protest a ball or strike, he is automatically ejected. And that's a very easy inning for Steve Avery as he gets Tim Raines to pop to third. 1, 2, 3 for the Expos in the fifth. We go to the bottom half of the fifth inning. Montreal still up 5-3.
Let's look at the other scores as Don Sutton joins us. San Diego 3-0 over Pittsburgh. That rookie Eddie Williams has homered, so has Tony Gwynn. Ed Whitson pitching the shutout. Cincinnati pushed across a run in the fourth. Fernandez against Charlton. Cubs are winning, but the Dodgers have scored and they're still batting in the fourth. Phillies and Houston are scoreless. San Francisco and St. Louis play tonight. In the American League, very quickly, Kansas City winning big at Boston. New York has 4 in the fifth. They're still batting. A slaughter in Baltimore. Detroit has Texas shut out. The other action not yet underway, and Dave Justice leads off the fifth inning against Tim Burke, and he grounds one to Galarraga, who doesn't miss many. 1 out. So Justice 1 for 3 with 2 RBI. And Dale Murphy, the batter.
I'm sure you guys covered this, but just last inning, that showed you so many ways a heads-up guy can win a ball game for you without the bat or the glove.
Tim Wallach?
I don't believe anybody else in the ballpark thought of that but Wallach and Bob Davidson. Heads-up play cost the Braves a run and maybe more, because it would have been first and third, 2 outs, 5-4 ball game.
There's another little twist to that. The pitch to Murphy. Swung and missed a fastball. We were looking at the replay between innings. It looked like the pitch was a slider in the dirt and a short hop scoop by Fitzgerald. So if it's strike 3 and the ball is in the dirt and he throws to first base and it's a wild throw, if Presley runs, Wallach knocks it down. He'll never be able to throw him out. We'll see how they score it. On this infield, I know they're trying to change the turf, but everything's an adventure.
First bounce comes off the grass with overspin, and it carried a little bit more than Wallach thought it was going to. They're going to give him an error on it, but I'm telling you, there is no such thing as a routine play on this infield.
And Jeff Blauser is the batter. But if that's strike 3, and if the ball went in the dirt, and if the throw goes into right field, and if Presley had run, he could have wound up at second base on that ball.
Easily. Easily. That's the key. I think if Presley runs anyway, And I think if there's any doubt in your mind that you swung, you have to run. But apparently there wasn't any doubt in his mind.
Yeah, apparently not.
That was exciting.
1 ball, no strikes. I'm still trying to get straight in my mind whether the run should have counted if the ball went in the dirt. The 1-0. 2 balls, no strike. Let's see. Here's the pitch again.
Well, let's see if Presley goes around too. Slider. He swings. It does go in the dirt.
You can't
backhand. It looked like it had to go into the dirt.
Either the glove hit the dirt or the ball did, because the dirt comes flying up.
Either way, there's no out until the put out is registered by his tagging Presley, or the put out has to be registered on a strike 3 that isn't caught. The put out has to be registered by tagging the hitter or by throwing the first base.
But while the runner circled the bases, if that was in the dirt, should the run count or not?
If Presley is running, yes.
But if he doesn't run, he's
until he takes off, he's out. Once the appeal play is made at first, Presley has not gone to first. He's out if everybody runs and you and I go down on the field and run.
And everything else is a wash.
Yeah, once that put out is made at first, inning over, game, set, match.
2 balls, 1 strike, the count. Well, the Braves have to shake that one off. They're only down by 2 here. Murphy a very short lead this time. Blauser chased a high fastball, and the count evens at 2-2.
I'm glad it's worked out the way that it has with Avery spotting a lineup, Skip. Let's face it, Braves aren't going to the World Series this year. And I think going through the...
Well, some of them will.
If we can all get tickets.
Yeah.
But if the Grand Slam home run by Wallach, leaving him out there, is letting him work through some situation. What are they doing? Saying out of the press box what we already knew? That's what we said.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Right off the end of the bat.
The press box is giving us the long version of what we've already given you, the short version. That is, since Presley didn't run, once they made the throw and stepped on first, he was out, inning over.
And the ball did go into the dirt. If the ball did, because they called it a 9-2-3, and the catcher doesn't get an assist on the errant throw. If it had not gone in the dirt, it's just a strikeout, and that's that.
That's right. Well, I'm glad we cleared that up.
If in fact we did, there's a good breaking ball, and Blauser is out. 2 down. Strikeout number 2 for Tim Burke. Here's Jimmy Kramers. He's 0 for 2. Activity again in the Atlanta bullpen.
Isn't this the 3rd time Tommy Gregg has come out to the on-deck circle? 2nd or 3rd time he is going to hit for Avery if it goes that far. But what I was saying before, I'm glad that it has gone this way because it's a part of the maturation process. He gave up the slam, but his spot in the batting order, it's never been where Braves could use a pinch hitter for him. So he's getting a chance to grow up as a pitcher a little bit out there, to keep his club in a ball game. All this might help him 2 years from now, or it might help him next year, but it's still a part of the growing up process.
Fastball a little bit inside, 1 ball, no strikes. Would have helped him a little more if he hadn't thrown the grand slam.
Well, then he wouldn't have grown up as quickly, but putting it off wouldn't have been as hard either.
Runner at first, 2 down. One great thing about baseball, about the time you get jaded and think you've seen it all, you see something else. 2 balls, no strikes. Did you think Presley swung?
Yes. Yes, I did.
I thought so at the time, before anything happened.
Because my first thought, I wondered why he was throwing the first. Inning over.
2-1, the count to Kramers. This kid has struck out 18 times in 38 at-bats.
And I think it's becoming fairly evident that he is a little bit mismatched at the major league level. Offensively.
Ernie Witt has started to take batting practice. Runner goes. There's a drive. Deep right field. Trouble if it's fair. It is a home run. Off the foul pole, and the game is tied. Right down the line, and he plunked it off the pole. His first extra base hit, his first homer, his first RBI.
Okay, so he's not mismatched in the big leagues.
That'll do him a world of good, that's for sure.
Got an off-speed pitch up in the strike zone. Burke did not want to throw this where he threw it. Look at this. Just sitting there begging to be hit. Got him out front, but he hooked it. The only thing we wondered was, will it stay fair or will it go foul? It hit dead center of the screen. We're all tied.
And Steve Avery now hits for himself. A 2-out, 2-run homer to tie the game.
You know what Joaquin Andujar said. You can sum it all up in one word. You never know.
Yes. Avery doesn't get it. 0-1. 5-5 our score. A wild one in Atlanta. We get to bat last. That's the best news. We started to say, and we'll continue the point about Kramer's. When Ernie Witt is ready, my guess would be that Jim will go to Richmond, and that's not punishment. Owen fields and throws, and the inning is over. And if that's the way it works out, Jim Kramers will have a better idea of what he has to do and what he has to learn to earn his way back here. 2 runs, 1 hit. 1 very costly error, and nobody left. At the end of 5, it's 5-5. We go to the 6th inning here. Tim Wallach will lead it off. He has a grand slam. He has a heads-up play at the other end. He made an error that cost his team 2 runs, though it was a very tough error. And he looks at a breaking ball for a strike.
Well, I got another question. Was Bobby run? Was Bobby Cox kicked out?
Automatically on arguing a ball and strike. Looped into center field. That will fall for a hit. And Wallach is aboard for the 2nd time. Bobby's helping our ratings. He's watching. That's 3 games in 2.5 weeks he's gotten to watch on TV. Mike Fitzgerald, the batter, he has twice struck out. Mark Grant in the Atlanta bullpen. And a left-hander begins to labor for Montreal. Drew Hall, I think. The pitch. He bunts. Beauty down the third base line. Avery, a long throw, wild throw. Runners are going to wind up at first and third. It'll be a hit, I'm sure, and an error allows the runner to get over to third. He calls that a sacrifice?
I think he was butting for a base hit. The official score may have booted this because he dropped that down base hit all the way, and it was a base hit all the way. And it would have taken a perfect play to have thrown him out. They're going to score at sacrifice in E1.
Oh, that's tough.
But that's generous, questionable scoring.
So right away, the Braves are in the soup, and Grant gets ready, and Kramers goes to the mound to stall for time, and Big John McSherry, who is drenched in perspiration, heads out there to try to move things along. It will be Galarraga, Noboa, and Owen do.
This is one of those meetings on the mound that the dugout calls for just so they can give the bullpen a little bit more time for them to warm up.
And here comes Jimmy Williams, and I think that'll do it. And Avery showed you a little something here today. He didn't have his good stuff. He gave up the 5 runs in the 3rd inning, but then he came back and got him out in the 4th and 5th, then ran into trouble here in the 6th. He didn't do great. But as Don said, you hope he learned something out of all this.
And you know, of all the things we've talked about Avery, one of the things that keeps popping up over and over is his maturity and his composure. And I think he has really shown that today.
Now they make the move. Jimmy wasn't exactly sure when he went out there if he was going to go with a hook or not, but he's made the decision now. And Avery departs, and Mark Grant comes on in a situation with runners at 1st and 3rd, nobody out, in a tie ball game. The score is 5-5, and we'll be back right after this. So Mark Grant gets ready to go. First and third, nobody out, tie game. We're in the sixth. Galarraga the batter. Grant has worked once for Atlanta and struck out the side the other night here, giving up one base hit in the process. He pitched extremely well last year for San Diego, and for whatever reason didn't pitch very well at all this year. But the Braves are hoping that the change of uniforms will prove a tonic for him. He was 8-2 last year with a 3.3 earned run average in 50 games. This year was 1-1, a 4.85 in 26 games. He's out of Aurora, Illinois, lives now in the San Diego area in Alpine, California. And Galarraga the batter, they're on the corners. It's a 5-5 ball game. Don has gone to visit with the scorer, Mark Fredrickson, about Fitzgerald's bunt. We'll get his report in a moment. He is not bleeding and his knuckles aren't bruised. Right off the end of the bat, 0-1. Well,
said there wasn't any doubt in his mind that he was sacrificing all the way and that he thought a good throw would have gotten him.
Well, he's wrong on both counts in our opinion.
But he said Jim Schultz agreed with him.
Well, Jim's mind is on other things. The pitch. There's a drive, deep center field. Back goes Gant. He looks up and waves goodbye. Galarraga has hammered one right out of here. That's his first home run in some 40 games. And Mark Grant is rudely greeted, and just like that, it's an 8-5 game. You close the book on Avery. 5+ innings, 7 runs, 5 hits, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a home run.
Looked like he wanted to get ahead of him with a breaking ball. It was belt high right down the middle, and Galarraga is one of those hitters that is a middle speed hitter if you just throw it for a strike. So after Avery did the battling to keep his club in it till they could get back even, now all he's going to have to show for it is a loss if his club can't come back again.
Noboa takes one low, 1 ball, no strikes. Fastball, 1 hopper to third. Low throw, but Justice dug it out, 1 away. That's the first out of the inning. And here's Spike Owen. He'll turn around and bat left-handed. 8-5 Montreal. But the way this one's going,
this could be one of those 13-12 games.
Owen looks at one, low and away, 1 ball, no strikes. The left-hander, who we think is Drew Hall, is still working in the bullpen for the Expos. High chop, that might be trouble. In fast, Treadway throws, safe. Infield hit for Owen. His 2nd hit of the day and only his 5th of the year against Atlanta.
Treadway has had a lot of tough plays in this series just like this, where he's had to come in, make the play between the mound and second. Most of the time he's been right on the mark and gotten the out, but Owen can run, and Bob Davidson again made the right call. A couple of thousand umpires disagreed with him.
It is Drew Hall, and Mike Aldretti will come out here and pinch hit. He and Grant know all about one another. They came up in the Giants system together. 1 on, 1 out, 3 in. It's 8-5 Expo. Throw to first. Owen is back. He is 5 out of 8 in the stolen base department. That home run by Galarraga, the 6th time this year a Braves reliever has given up a home run to the first man he faced. That's quite a few. Burke went 2 innings, allowed 3 hits, 2 runs, threw a home run ball. Pitch to Aldretti. Little low, 2-0. Throw to first. Owen back easily. 8-5 the score. The Padres have who are we playing? Montreal. The Expos have the lead. Line, right center field. Nobody's going to get that ball all the way to the wall. Owen is around third. They wave him. Gant is up. It'll be a double for Aldretti, and it's 9-5. Buck Rogers pushes the right button and gets an RBI double out of Mike Aldretti. The 4th run of the inning. So Mark Grant experiencing some difficulty too.
Not the same Mark Grant stuff we saw in his last outing. This is sinking fastball right down the middle, and Aldretti found the gap with it. Gant came over and tried to cut it off. If he could have gotten to it, he could have saved the run, but when it got past him, there was no doubt that Owen was going to score, and Aldretti had to double.
So it's 9-5. Nixon the batter. He's 1 for 3. RBI single. Strike called, outside corner, 0-1.
Grant doesn't look as quick as he did the first night we saw him in here.
Aldretti edges away at second base. Line down the left field line. It's hooking away from Lonnie. He can't get there. Fair ball. A run is in. Nixon racing for second. He'll be in there easily. It's 10-5. A couple of doubles, a 3-run homer, a single, 2 singles, and a sacrifice that should have been another single.
And the bullpen phone is ringing. Nixon just fights this off, slices it the other way. Lonnie was playing him a long way off the line, a long way for somebody who hits the ball that way. And I really thought Lonnie thought that it was going to slice into foul territory, because when he picked it up, the only thing he could do was try to get it back in and hold Nixon with a double, because he had that easily.
The pitch, breaking ball outside. Rick Lucan up again in the bullpen. He's pitched a game down there. 1 ball, no strikes. 5 runs home in the inning and another runner in scoring position. Grissom is 1 for 3. He scored a run. We're only in the 6th. Breaking ball outside. 2-0.
So now if you're evaluating Grant, how do you evaluate him? After what you saw the first night in here when he struck out the side, or what you're seeing now, or is it somewhere in between?
There he goes. Swung and missed. Kramers can't come up with it. Nixon has another stolen base. Now a fly ball will plate yet another run. That was a good play by Nixon. And he stole that off Mark Grant.
4 times he's stolen third base, but you hit it right on the head. He did steal it off of Grant, and I think there's a tendency for this to happen a lot with pitchers. When everything else is going wrong all around you, you forget about the base runners. Just give them the token 1 look, and a good base runner can time you if you do that.
Curve chopped off the plate, foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You and I have talked about this before. The 2 pressing needs it seems the Braves need to address. Number 1 is some team speed, because offensively they're basically a base-to-base team. And in the graphic you just saw, an earned run average from the bullpen of right at 6. You can't win with that.
Fastball up and in. Full count, 3-2. Tim Raines is next. The Braves had just battled back to tie it on the Kramers homer, and poof. Grissom awaits the payoff pitch. He chased one up around his eyes, and he's out of there for the 2nd out. But it's not over yet. Here's Raines. Raines has lined to third, walked and scored, and popped to third. Presley is back behind the base. I wouldn't be surprised to see him drop a little bunt down that third base line.
Doesn't bunt that much, but he has the speed to do it, and he's smart enough to figure out he knows he's going to beat it out if he can.
I think that'll stay in the park. Gant battles the sun on the track, and the inning is over, but not before 5-run score. And a 5-5 ball game has changed quite a bit. It's 10-5 Expos as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Bottom of the 6th, and time for the Reebok trivia question, which you see. Dusty Rhodes? No, I just had the one big World Series. Probably not. Who do you think?
Smokey Burgess.
That's a good guess. May not be right, but it's a very good guess. Drew Hall is on to pitch for the Expos. One thing we prove with our Reebok trivia question, and that is that we are not tipped off in advance as to what the answer is. Hall is 4-7, a 3.65 earned run average. We just got a hint. Go out on a cliff.
He probably played with Houston and the Toronto Blue Jays. Big right-handed hitter.
Oh, Clifford Johnson.
Clifford Johnson. I think he made a stop in New York, but then again, who didn't?
Top of the order against Drew Hall here. Fastball, I guess high. 1 ball, no strikes. 10-5 is the score. High can of corn to center. Nixon is there. 1 out.
And survey said
we got a hint, though.
We were right.
Yeah.
We can read those hints, can't we?
With a hint. We were right.
Melba Fusel is here from Franklinton, Louisiana. She has been a Braves fan since Ernie Johnson was first started pitching for them back in Milwaukee.
Jeff Treadway is the batter. He's 1 for 3. Almost hit him inside. 1 ball, no strike. 10-5 the score. The Expos lead it. Phillies in tomorrow night. Clary against Mulholland. High pop foul that will reach the seats. Ball and strike. Drew Hall is a big Civil War buff. Big history fan.
So was former Braves manager Russ Nixon, wasn't he?
Keith Hernandez, too.
Keith Hernandez.
Anybody who is in that frame, you got to go to Madison, Georgia. See the town that Sherman spared on his march to the sea. You ever been down there?
No, that's over by Lake Oconee. Out 20.
Out I-20 east, about 50 miles. Pop foul back and out of play.
So he left all the old original antebellum structures.
And the folks over there have done a great job of keeping them up. Anytime, if you folks watching on the cable, if you're headed for Florida, take a little 50-mile detour. You'll really enjoy it. The 1-2. Line left center field. That's in for a hit. Can Nixon cut it off? Yeah, look at that speed. Look at that to hold him to a single. And there's the difference in the two teams. Nixon able to get to that ball. Raines able to get over to take the little toss, and Treadway, with only average speed, stopped at first base.
See, that's good speed. That is heads-up baseball. Give it to the man who can quickly turn to the infield, get it back in. The Braves can't afford to take any chances. The throws there, Treadway would have been out. That's a good defensive play.
Ron Gant, 3 for 3, all singles. He has scored 2 of the 5 Atlanta runs. 1 ball, no strikes. Gant now at 314 on the year. It's been a wacky day here. This thing may not be over yet. Oh. 2-0 is the count. Presley on deck. Ball three. 3 balls, no strikes. Oh, we've had a lot of, in this series, there have been a lot of walks, a lot of long counts.
And a lot of long ball games, which walks and deep counts lead to.
There's a strike at the letters, 3-1.
There's a good example of your different strike zones. 3-0. It's almost like a lot of umpires think 3-0, if it's in the area, it's automatic. That ball about letter high, guarantee you 0-2 you make that pitch, you're going to have a tough time getting him rung up for strike 3.
The 3-1. Down low, he walked it. So the Expos are helping the Braves get back into this thing. 2-1 with 1 out, and Jim Presley, the batter. He has doubled home a run, he has singled, and he has struck out. And Buck Rogers is making the call himself and slams the phone down. 5-run lead, you start walking people, you're going to tick your manager off, no doubt about it. Mohersick will go to work. He closed things down here last night in game 2.
There could really only be 2 reasons for walking somebody. Having your mechanics be out of whack, or number 2, being afraid that if you throw a strike, somebody's going to hammer it. And in both cases, you usually don't last very long on the mound.
So Presley stands in. A long one puts the Braves right back in it. The Braves cleanup hitter waits. Takes the strike, 0-1. Dave Justice is on deck. Presley does not possess great running speed, but he has only grounded into 4 double plays all year. The 0-1 pitch. Let up, strike 2. So Hall is quickly out in front.
One of the reasons that he doesn't hit into a lot of double plays, Skip, is that he has a swing that normally lifts the ball. More of a fly ball hitter than a ground ball hitter.
The runners lead. Treadway from second, Gant from first. And the 0-2 pitch. Low and away, a ball and 2 strikes. This is the kind of game will drive you nuts. The Expos have 10 runs on 9 hits, and the Braves have 5 runs on 10 hits.
And the outcome is far from decided.
We hope. The 1-2. Ground ball up the middle, base hit. Treadway around third, races for the plate. The throw will be cut off. It's 10-6. Presley's second RBI of the day, is 45th of the year. Dave Justice, the batter, against the left-hander.
And when he does hit it on the ground, it's usually in the hole between short and third, or right back up the middle like this. Nixon came up with it. I think he hesitated a second before going home, but Jimmy Williams was waving Treadway the whole way, so base hit keeps it going for the Braves. They're only 4 down now.
And Dave Justice, the batter, he's driven in 2 runs today. He's 1 for 3. Drove in a run with an infield out, drove one in with a single, and then bounced out to first. Hits against the left-hander with Murphy on deck, and this may be the man Drew Hall has to get. Strike called, inside corner, 0-1. After our games with the Phillies Monday and Tuesday and the Mets on Thursday on TBS, we will not see you again until August the 7th, a twilight doubleheader here against the Padres at 5:05. The 0-1. Let up, line, right center field, base hit. The run will have to stay at third. They weren't sure, and that's the other thing Nixon does. He's so fast, he makes a believer out of you, and you're afraid to run. That's what happened to Gant. The bases are loaded. That's going to be all for Drew Hall, almost certainly, with the right-hand hitting Murphy coming up. And he represents the tying run.
No other reason in the world for Gant not scoring, except we have seen some of the plays Nixon has made. Gant had to wait and make sure that that ball wasn't caught. And once he did get it, no chance to score. Just held him at third, so the bases are now loaded. Here's Ron Gant. Watch him take off now. He's got to take a look. But by the time he hesitates, Jimmy Williams wants to make sure when you're 4 runs down, you don't want to get somebody needlessly thrown out at the plate.
Mahorsic is on. Drew Hall can study the Civil War at his leisure for the remainder of the day, and we'll be back right after this. Mahorsic 1-1, 2 saves, an earned run average of 2.12. One of those saves last night. Murphy stands in there against him. Bases full of Braves. Dale represents the tying run. He is 0 for 2. He has scored a run after he reached on an error in the 5th. Check swing, foul back, 0-1. Well, Tim Wallach hit a grand slam. Why not the Murph?
One fear you might have with Murph up there is he is right among the top in the National League and grounded into double plays. He has done it 11 times. But grand slams are no stranger to him either, as you could see with the graphic.
Just missed. Fitzgerald held it there. John McFerry said no. A ball and a strike. A runner at every base. Gant, Presley, and Justice from third to first. Oh, he had a good cut at a pitch up in his eyes, but he fouled it back. 1-2. Jeff Blauser waits on deck. We're in great shape now. Both Homer and Raleigh are in Raleigh Alley. How can we miss? Murphy out of the batter's box. High curveball, and he fouled it off. Boy, that was another pitch to hit.
But there's just enough variety or just enough difference in the speed of his sinker and the speed of his curveball that even though it's up in the strike zone, he's throwing Murphy's timing off with it.
The 1-2. He fought that one off. That was a pretty good pitch. Count stays the same. Starting to cloud up here again. Wonder if we could get through a game without the musical interludes. The 1-2 pitch. Struck him out, had him out in front on a breaking ball. Here's Jeff Blauser.
He threw him 3 or 4 breaking balls, got away with 3 of them, but boy, did he hit a perfect spot with that one. That's one of those, if he doesn't swing, it strikes 3, and if he swings, there's not a whole lot he's going to do with it. Big out from Mahorsic.
Here's Blauser. 1 out of 2 with a walk. Missed with a fastball. Blauser has singled, walked, and been called out on strikes. It's a 10-6 ball game. Jimmy Kramer is next. He has his first major league home run in this game, a 2-run shot that tied it an inning ago. Base hit left field. One run is there. Presley around third. They're going to wave it. The throw to the plate is not in time. It's 10-8. Blauser, a clutch two-out hit. And if Kramers hits one off the foul pole now, he'll give us a lead.
Clutch hitting by Blauser. Braves haven't done a whole lot of good scoring with 2 outs. Picks on the sinker, drills it in the hole. Blauser's average continues to climb up around 300. Gant scores easy. The question is, would the chugging Presley make it? Comes in standing, 10-8 Expos.
Tommy Gregg moves on deck for the 4th time today, and he hasn't batted yet. A strike to Kramers, 0-1.
That's an Atlanta Fulton County Stadium record held by Ken Griffey and Ted Simmons.
Raleigh and Homer still out there together. It's worked so far. A little low, 1-1.
They actually make a lovely couple.
Ball and a strike. High fly ball, but not enough of this one. Grissom is there, and the inning is over, but the Braves get right back into it as they score 3 times. With 4 hits, they leave 2 at the end of 6. Stay with us. It's Montreal 10, Atlanta 8. We go to the 7th inning here. Rick Lucan is the 3rd Atlanta pitcher of the day. Mark Grant went an inning and struggled. He gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, struck out 1, threw a home run ball to Andres Galarraga. And here's Tim Wallach again to lead off the 7th inning.
1 strikeout, 1 home run.
10-8 Montreal, our score. It's turning into a battle of bullpens. And that's an area in which we have not fared well, but Montreal's bullpen has been suspect today as well. Oh and 1 the count to Tim Wallach. Low and away. It's 1-1. Ground ball to third. Presley on a funny hop. Good play. Long throw. Got it. 1 down. Presley stayed with it. That infield, I know they're trying to do something, but it is still very, very rough.
There's not an infielder on the Braves or on any of the visiting clubs that have come in here recently who go after a ground ball as though it's going to be a routine play. Most of them do, like Presley, try to make the side saddle and hope that your arm is strong enough to get the put out, and Presley's was.
Mike Fitzgerald, the batter. He has twice struck out, sacrificed on his other trip. 1 ball, no strikes. Right through there from Lucan. It's a 1-1 count. Curve, check, swing, grounder, foul. 1-2. Homer and Raleigh now have moved over to what used to be the right field picnic area. They are spending a lot of time together. And the 1-2. Low it away, 2-2. That probably upsets the other mascot first game. The 2-2. Upstairs, full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
It's been a strange day watching the Expos offensively. They have 10 runs. They scored 5 in the 3rd, 5 in the 6th. They don't have hits in any other innings but the 3rd and the 6th.
Grounded foul. Fitzgerald may have hit that one off his foot the way he's acting.
A walk, 4 hits, grand slam homer in the 3rd, another home run in the 6th. One is a mascot, one is a manager.
3 balls, 2 strikes, the count. There's... Oh, never mind.
It's hard to look at his face and tell what the score is.
The 3-2. A high drive, deep right center field. Back goes Gant. Back goes Gant. He says goodbye. It's 11-8. Fitzgerald, another home run. His 2nd in as many games. You had to bring up that they didn't have any hits in any other innings, didn't you?
Okay, so it's my fault. Again. One thing we've learned about Fitzgerald, he can hit high 3-2 fastballs, he can hit high changeups, he can hit almost anything that's thrown right down the middle, and it carries pretty well on Sunday afternoon.
Here's Galarraga, 1 for 2. That a 3-run homer. 11-8. Fouled away. You were fired by your last team, right?
Yes, I was fired in August of 1988.
So we wouldn't have to compensate anybody if we got you to.
Forget it. It is not going to happen.
The 1-1. 1-2 is the count.
There are younger players with some more ability down there. Getting them to the application of it now is a whole different deal.
The 1-2 pitch. Good curveball. Galarraga's out of there, 2nd out of the inning, and here's Junior Noboa.
That's a pitch Rick Luken did not have this year when the season started. He was basically a 2-pitch pitcher, sinker, slider, or a running fastball and a slider, and thought that he needed to come up with something off speed and picked it up very quickly.
He deals to Noboa, sawed him off. Routine grounder. Treadway has it, inning over, but another run crosses the plate on the Fitzgerald homer, the only hit of the inning. We go to the bottom half of the 7th. Far from over, 11-8 Montreal. We go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Otoby McDowell will pinch hit for Rick Luken here. McDowell, Smith, and Treadway in the bottom of the 7th. Luken went an inning, allowed a hit and a run. Mohorsic goes to work. And McDowell doesn't get it, and it's 0-1. 11-8 Expo. McDowell hitting .255, 5 homers, 23 ribbies. He hits that ball hard. Trouble if it's fair. It is fair into the corner. McDowell on his way to 2nd with a stand-up double. And we're off and running in the 7th. That kicked up the chalk down that right field line.
They keep trying to run the ball away from McDowell. They keep getting it up in the strike zone, and he hasn't missed one of these in a couple of weeks. Very close, right on it. You called it. It kicked up the chalk, so Braves are still in it and have something going to start the 7th.
Here's Lonnie. Smith 0 for 3 with a walk, a run scored. Almost hit him. 1 ball, no strikes.
11-8 is only 3 down. You can still afford to, with 2 more innings to go, to try to get 1 at a time, hoping maybe Lonnie will try to move him over and pick this run up rather than trying to hit a 2-run homer.
Ground ball to 3rd, off the glove of Wallach, recovered by Owen. He can't make a play. It'll be a hit. Two on with nobody out.
McDowell couldn't go anywhere. A tough chance for Wallach. That infield is ragged. That took a nasty hop off the heel of his glove. Owen could not have thrown out Lonnie Smith anyway. So first and second for the Braves with nobody out.
And the tying run is at the plate, and no activity in the Montreal bullpen. Here's Jeff Treadway. 2 out of 4, a run scored. He's hit well against the Expos all year. There's a drive deep right field. Back goes Grissom. He looks up. Tie game. Number 10, 43 RBI, 11-11. A new RBI high for Jeff Treadway.
Picked on a high sinker. 10 home runs. A new high for him. The 43 RBIs puts him right near the top on the Braves. And you could see him jumping up and down. He hoped it had enough to get out of there. It did. This may go on for a while.
0-1 to Gant. He chased a high pitch and fouled it back.
Mahorsic, to be effective with his sinker, has to keep it down in the strike zone. He got pitches up to Lonnie Smith. He got a pitch up to McDowell, and he certainly got one up to Treadway.
Kent Merker joins Hesketh in the Atlanta bullpen. Nobody home for Montreal. They ran up to bunt, fastball outside.
You might wonder why 2 left-handers are throwing in the bullpen instead of a lefty and a righty. Chances are, if the Braves are ahead, Merker will close it. If it stays tied, Hesketh will come on.
A ball and a strike. Line drive, center field. That's playable for Nixon. 1 down, but another ball hit right on the nose. That's the first out of the inning. Here's Jim Presley. 3 for 4, a couple of RBIs, a run scored. Dave Justice moves on deck. Presley stands in. Off-speed breaking ball for a strike, but up in the strike zone. 0-1. (11-11), and we're in the 7th. Fastball misses outside. It's 1-1. There's Treadway and equipment manager and assistant trainer Jeff Porter. There's a drive deep left field. Braves lead 12-11. People are going berserk here. The Braves have come from behind to take the lead.
Remember the 60s show Home Run Derby that they used to film at Old Wrigley Field out in California, where they would bring in some of the home run hitters like Aaron against Stewart? Well, this is the 1990s version. Another high sinker. He threw it right in Presley's swing, and he hit this one a long way. There wasn't any doubt as soon as he connected, that was gone. He now takes the lead on the Braves in RBIs. That's also 12 homers, second on the club.
Fry up in their bullpen. Here's Dave Justice. Fastball high, I guess. 1 ball, no strike. Well, let's get a few more. The way this game is going, you never have enough. This is like we're playing in Fenway or Wrigley. The pitch. 2-0. Now Merker is up by himself. Hesketh has taken a seat. This thing isn't over yet, but it's 12-11 Atlanta. The 2, 3, and 4 hitters in the Atlanta lineup are 10 out of 14. The 2, 3, 4, and 5 hitters are 12 out of 18. The 3-0 to Justice. He's swinging. There's a drive. If it stays fair. Home run. They turned him loose. 3-0. Third home run in the inning. What a game.
You get an inning like this, you can play a hunch. Jimmy Williams, managing for Bobby Cox, did it. Turned the young first baseman loose, 3-0. He got a high sinker, and he didn't miss it. So Mahorsik has thrown some high pitches, put them end to end. They might reach from here to Madison, Georgia.
That'll do it for Mahorsik. They'll double switch. Tom Foley, it looks like, will come into the game to play second base. Noboa will go out. Mahorsik got out of a jam in the 6th, but couldn't do it in the 7th. Let's see who gets the call. It's going to be the left-hander, Steve Fry, and we'll be back right after this. Mahorsik won an inning, allowed 6 hits, 5 runs, struck out 1, 3 home runs. So Murphy bats with 1 out and nobody on against Fry. Tom Foley is at second base. Foley will bat in the 9th spot of the order. Fry will bat 7th. A right-hander in their bullpen, I would guess it's Dave Schmidt, because that's probably about all they have left. They have used Sampson, Burke, Hall, Mahorsik, and now Fry. Braves have countered with Avery, Grant, Lucan, and Merker will be next. Andres Thomas now limbering up in the bullpen for Atlanta.
And if it stays the same, Rick Lucan is the pitcher of record. He'll get the win.
Murphy 0 for 4.
Last time the Braves had back-to-back homers was July 18th, 1988. Gant and Andres Thomas did it off Shane Raleigh.
I thought it was probably off you.
No. I just gave up my 2 solo to Horner and then got out.
Fast strike at the knees, 0-1 to Murphy.
I did give up back-to-back to Cincinnati. Bench Foster and Griffey.
Well, there's no shame in that. The 0-1. Low and away, a ball and a strike. 13-11 Atlanta. It's been a wacky day at the old ball yard today. At the knees, 1 and 2. Dale right now just looks totally confused up there, doesn't he?
Yes, he really does. More so against right-handers, though. It's almost like any right-hander who can throw anything in the outer half of the strike zone has him. Left-handers he's having a little bit better look at.
Hit one out, Murph. Down the line, but foul. He hit it a ton.
See,
okay. This time hit one out fair, Murph.
See, that's a swing he has off of a left-hander in pitches in that area that he doesn't take against the right-handers. I don't know why it is, but upper part of his body's starting to pull out when a right-handed pitcher throws anything on the outer half of the plate.
Didn't miss by much. Breaking ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. What a ball game this has been. And it's not slow pitch softball, but it's 13-11. Ground ball, Wallach to his left. Good play. 2 down. Here's Jeff Blauser. He's 2 out of 3 with a couple of RBIs and a walk.
Speaking of slow pitch, you know we have a lot of fans up in the Nashville area. A lot of people in country music follow the Braves and TBS when they travel. They're playing a big game at Wright Park in Goodlettsville today for VITA, Drug and Alcohol Rehab Center and Program. Larry Gatlin, Ralph Emery, Charlie Pride, Lori Morgan and her band, some people that are scheduled to play against a group of disc jockeys.
Here's Blauser on the pitch. Swung line to the shortstop, and the inning is over, but a big one for Atlanta. 5 runs, 5 hits, 3 homers, no errors, none left. We go to the 8th inning, Atlanta by 2. Time for our Delta scoreboard. San Diego beat the Pirates, finally cooled them off 4-1. They had 3 home runs in the game. Cincinnati a 2-0 lead over the Mets. Rob Dibble in relief of Norm Charlton. The Cubs trying to win a game. They lead 5-1, and Philadelphia and Houston are tied. San Francisco and St. Louis will play tonight. American League, Kansas City beat the Red Sox with ease. The White Sox hold a lead over the Yankees. Minnesota won their game, as did Detroit. And the other action just getting started. That's your Delta scoreboard, and we go to the 8th inning here. Andres Thomas enters the game to play shortstop. He will bat 9th. Kent Merker will come on to pitch and will hit 7th and will occupy Jeff Blauser's spot in the order. And Spike Owen will lead it off. Merker goes to work. Fastball high and away. 1 ball, no strikes.
This will be his 7th appearance in this role. You recall when we talked to him up in Montreal, he said this is where he wanted to be. This is the job he wanted, and he's done well in it.
Fastball foul back. It's 1-1. 18 hits for the Bravos today. Nobody on, nobody out. 8th inning. Fastball missed outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Just missed inside. 3-1 with a 2-run lead. The last thing you want to do is walk somebody. Half of those 18 Atlanta hits have come in the last 2 innings.
And the Braves haven't been retired in order in a single inning all day, so you knew it had to be sooner or later they were going to bust it open and get some runs.
Did that hit him, or was that ball 4? I guess it was just ball 4. So an inauspicious start in the game for Kent Merker. Here's Tom Foley. Foley hitting 280, no homers, 12 RBI. It's now Foley, Nixon, and Grissom the next 3. The 18 hits, the high water mark of the year for Atlanta. 16 the previous high. The pitch. Strike called right through there. 0-1. The Phillies come in tomorrow night, a 7:40 game. We'll have it for you at 7:35 on TBS. Base hit left field, I think. Gets past Thomas. The tying runs are on with nobody out. He didn't hit it hard, but he hit it in a perfect spot.
The walk he could have done something about. This he could do nothing about. Foley hit that right off the fist. And chances are if the Braves hadn't been defensing to try to turn a double play, Andres could have made that and at least gotten 1 out. Braves are expecting the Expos to be bunting here. Presley in to tell Merker the play that they're going to put on. Jimmy Williams signals that from the dugout.
Joe Baver goes to work in the Atlanta bullpen. And Nixon the batter.
Unusual move. The third base coach Runnels just trotted out to Spike Owen to tell him what play the Expos are going to use. He's now flashing the signs to Foley at first and to Nixon, who's the hitter.
24 hits, 24 runs, 29 hits, 3 errors in this game. 2 on, nobody out. Nixon the batter. He's swinging and he's missing, and it's 0-1, and he's only hitting .213 as a right-hand hitter. He's much better from the other side. Well, they gave him one swing. Let's see if they take it off now. Hesketh joins Baver in the Atlanta pen.
I don't think a guy like Nixon realizes what a weapon he has with speed. He doesn't have to make a good bunt. If he just gets it out front, he might get a base hit. They might have it loaded.
Put a lot of pressure on you if he bunts. Swinging, taking, 1-1.
The strategy normally is when you're on the road, you don't play to tie, but the way I've always looked at that is you can't get ahead till you get even.
A ball and a strike is the count. 2 on, nobody out. Braves cling to a 2-run lead. Strike 2 call over the inside corner. It's 1-2. Now Presley can go back about 4 steps, which might cut off a sharply hit ground ball. Marquise Grissom is next. A nail biter at the ballpark. Up the middle. Thomas steps on the bag. Double play. Oh, he dropped the ball at first. Justice dropped the throw at first. Oh, that hurts. And I think the throw was okay again. Let's look.
About the only way you're going to double up Nixon is like this. The throw right to him hit him right in the palm of the hand. And I think that they might have to give an error on that. You never assume a double play. But on that one, he had already called him out. Davidson had, right in the palm of his hands. And the only thing you can think that happened is that Dave Justice took his eye off the ball watching Owen to see where he was.
That's twice today that's happened to him. The third Atlanta error. So now Merker, who looked like he was just about out of the inning, is still in a mess. Grissom, the batter, the pitch. A little low, 1 ball, no strike. So he's got to pitch around the mistake.
The out there at first would have done a couple of things. Number one, obviously it would have been out 2. But with Nixon on, he doesn't care what the score is. He is always a threat to steal, and he is successful most of the time.
He stole his 29th earlier. Throw to first, runner back. You have a first base umpire. And Bob Davidson, who calls a lot of balks.
Tough crowd today. Justice makes the catch on the pickoff and gets the
there he goes.
Standing O.
Swung, and did he miss it or foul tip it? He foul tipped it, so Nixon has to come back.
Nixon was going. The fastball on the inside. Fouled off. Got a piece of John McSherry.
Right in the old mask. A ball and a strike.
Smallest part of John, you'd think that'd be the toughest to hit.
Easy. Throw to first. Run up.
The mask is a very small part of an umpire. They've got the chest protector and the shin guards that are all larger.
A ball and a strike to count. Look at that against left-hand pitchers. That's really impressive.
A lot of base runners will tell you left-handers are easy because there's no deception. You see everything they're going to do.
There he goes. Pitch is high. Throw is low. He is safe. That's 30 stolen bases for Nixon.
He had his mind made up. First bit of movement from Merker, he was going, and you can see he slides to the inside there. If the throw is down there, he's going to make it tough on the infielder to handle the throw.
Now a base hit ties the game up yet again. 2 balls and a strike. 3-1. So now Grissom is in the driver's seat here. Fouled it back. Full count, 3-2. This is one of those games that would make Coffee nervous.
Which do you think fans would rather see? Mike, Scott, Dwight Gooden, nothing for 9, maybe a couple of no-hitters going into the 8th, or a 13-11 game?
I think a combination.
You mean one side pitching a no-hitter, the other getting 13?
Line drive to the shortstop. Second out. Throw there is late. Here's Tim Raines. No, I think one time you go to the ballpark, see great pitching, and the next time see a game like this. Raines today is 0 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. Any base hit to the outfield ties it up with Nixon at second. And there's that man again, Tim Wallach on deck. That's the other good bit of news here. If you can get Raines in this spot and get out of this inning, then Wallach bats with the bases empty and your team on top by 2 in the 9th, by at least 2. But Raines is the man you got to worry about now. Raines steps out of the batter's box. Let up in there for a strike, 0-1. 13-11 Atlanta.
You might expect Raines to be hitting a lot higher than he does with runners in scoring position. He's 6 for 24, 250, so you got 3 chances in 4 of getting him out.
Kramer's held it there, but I guess it was high. It's 1-1. Almost to the backstop. 2 balls and a strike.
To have a good breaking ball, especially from the stretch, you have to stay on that back leg, keep your weight back, and throw over the top and throw over the front leg. What Merker has done on all 3 is to get leaning forward and try to make it up quickly. Better tilt there.
Into short center field. On comes Gant. Can't get it. Tie game. It's tied at 13, and the air comes home to roost. 13 all, and here's Wallach again. The runs are unearned, but they count nonetheless.
And Merker made a good pitch on Raines. Fastball in on his fist. He fought it off. Again, one of those where you almost wish he'd hit it harder. Gant had a long way to go, gave it the all-out try, but ended up a foot short. But as you said, any base hit would have scored Nixon.
So it's 13 all. Surprised Raines didn't wind up on second base on that ball. But he may in a moment anyway. The stretch. Fastball fouled away by Wallach, 0-1. Well, we still get to bat last, folks. Wallach with 15 of his 61 RBIs against Atlanta.
I think a lot of times when you see a play like the one Andres Thomas made with the throw with Justice dropping it, the natural thing is to say, well, it only cost you 1 batter. But that's not it. The fallout effect carries over all the way down to having to face some hitters that you would not have had to face. Grissom would have been the last out. Raines wouldn't have even come to bat.
The 0-1 pitch. Upstairs, a ball and a strike. 13 all our score. Steve Avery and Bill Sampson started this game. That seems like it was a week ago. Fastball, pop foul back and out of play, 1-2. Braves, by the way, have now made 85 errors on the year. That's high in the National League. Raines has shown no signs of running. The 1-2 pitch to first. He's back.
Merker may still be a little bit of a mystery to him. Normally a good base stealer who doesn't just rely on sheer blinding speed like a Nixon will take a little while to measure a reliever, to take a look at his moves, and then when he goes, he pretty much has figured out which pitch he wants to run on.
Pitch out, nothing happening, 2-2. Wallach takes a look at Tom Runnels, his third base coach.
I think that's the most overused, least successful play in baseball.
What?
The pitch out. How many times do you see a guy get thrown out on a pitch out?
He goes, struck him out, inning over. But not before the damage was done. 2 hits, 2 runs, 1 big air, 1 left. Well, got to go back to work. Offense, we go to the bottom of the 8th. Both teams have missed an extra point.
Atlanta Braves baseball is brought to you by B.F. Goodrich TA Tires, the athletic shoes for your car.
Bottom half of the 8th inning, Greg Olson will pinch hit for Jimmy Kramers to lead it off. Against Steve Fry, it's now Fry against Merker. The Phillies come to town tomorrow. In fact, they may be here for the last couple innings of this game. If they fly in, I know their broadcaster Harry Callis would rush right out here to catch the last inning at 2. Here's Olson to lead it off. Olson, then Thomas, then the top of the order, and Lonnie Smith. Olson at 284. Outside from Fry, 1 ball, no strikes. .13-13, 30 hits in the contest. 18 of them by Atlanta. Outside, 2-0. Craig Gagnon and Chad Scoggins here from Abbeville, South Carolina. The Gaults are here from Rapid City, South Dakota. Ground ball sharply hit, but right at Wallach. Wild throw! It bounces off the dugout. There's a good break for Atlanta, then a bad break. The air is on Wallach. And no excuse on that one about a bad hop. He just threw it away. Galarraga tried to keep his foot on the bag. The good break is Olson's at first. The